Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from Marsonian TV, another game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here, back to Mars, back to Gale Crater, and we are looking at this image from Sol 1448, okay, and this was one taken quite a while back now, and instantly when you look at this, you think, right, we have some kind of strange structure here towards the edge of the image, and there's also one or two other things in this area as well, which look kind of interesting, but maybe nothing. The best way to look at this image, really, rather than going to the NASA website, which is this one. Links will be below for all these, by the way. I mean, you can go through these individual images on these pages, but it can take forever. And I do advise, if you want to quickly look at an area, to go on the MSL GigaPan. This is one by Neville Thompson. He runs the GigaPan site and does a really cool job putting these images together in a nice, easy format to look at. And he basically compiles the images in a really nice panoramic format for you to zoom in and out of and have a really good look. So I'll have a link to this as well. So great stuff by Neville Thompson again on this one. This is MSL or Sol 1448, okay, west, and the part of the image we're looking at is this one over here, and there it is. What is this? Now, this has been sitting on my desktop now for quite some time, and I thought I wasn't really sure what to call it or what it was or whatever, but I've been going over some of the older finds that I've got here, and it sort of instantly reminded me of one of these, a dolmen. Now, dolmens were a type of single-chambered megalithic tomb, usually consisting of two or more vertical megaliths supporting a large flat horizontal capstone, although there are also more complex variants. Most date from the early Neolithic. Let's have a look at some images of those, and there are many different types of these. These go back about sort of 5,000 to 10,000 years in Europe and all over the world, actually. And you have these uprights here, and usually a large flat stone on top, but not necessarily. Sometimes they're much lower down. Sometimes they're dug into the ground. Sometimes they stand up above the ground. Ancient cultures all over the world were using these to bury their ancestors. And stuff like that, usually of someone of note, like a chieftain or a leader or something like that. But they do have other uses as well. I mean, some of them line up to the stars or the moon or the rising sun or whatever. So they have some sort of symbolic use as well, probably in some ancient kind of rituals or something. So there are many types of these, and imagine one of these that's kind of fallen over. That's been kind of pushed over, a bit like this one here. It's kind of slanted. They're not all necessarily flat on top. Some of them are slanted like this one. This one here also, look. Now it's obviously deliberately been put like that because nature would find it very hard to do that. I mean, it is possible that some may be natural, but most 99% of these are not natural, and that's what this reminded me of. Could it be a dolmen? Maybe, maybe not. It may just be some random mudstone or sedimentary rock that's kind of ended up like that. I mean, there probably was a tsunami in this area. Like I've said, in fact, I think I was the first person to propose that there may have been a tsunami into Gale Crater, which is where we are now. This is very low down. This is about over 3 miles below the surface of Mars, and if there was a huge cataclysm on Mars, which there was, water would have been shoved over the edge of the crater into the crater, and probably smashed everything in and washed everything into it. So lots of things have been moved around and broken, and here we have it. Now, one thing that struck me is it's kind of interlocking. You've got this piece here, which is quite thin, although it's hard to say exactly how thick it is. It looks like it's interlocking into this piece of rock here. And we have this quite large piece there that goes behind it as well, and round, and it's got these interesting things under it in the shadowy part here. Now it's a bit hard to see these, so I've done some enhancements for you, which I've got here. And in fact, no, I've got them in here. Let's look at them here, because they tend to. This is a raw clip, straight from the raw image, and you can see that there's some interesting structures in here. You've got a very straight piece at the bottom here, which looks very odd, doesn't look natural, and you've got some interesting lumpy structures in here. Now, these. This may well have been flooded and underwater for many hundreds or even thousands of years. Who knows? We don't know. But a lot of Gale Crater was flooded, and a lake a long time ago. So this may have been underwater for some time. And it occurred to me that these may be sort of encrusted or fossilized sea creatures that have, or mollusks, like mussels or that kind of thing. Sea creatures that have kind of stuck to the rock and then dried out and then fossilized there. Let me show you an enhancement of that, because I've really brightened this up just to show those structures. I've really kicked in a load of contrast and brightness there, and I've color corrected it. And you can see these interesting blob shaped structures in the rock, or on the underside of this overhang here. And some of them are kind of circular, like a shellfish might be. Very odd indeed. You know, you've got all these kind of structures here. So, I mean, this may just turn out to be natural, of course. I'm not saying this is necessarily a proof of life. Very few of these pictures contain any proof whatsoever. Some of them do contain evidence, but of course proof is not from one picture. You have to gather many thousands of pieces of evidence together in order to make a case for proof. So when people put stuff in the press or put stuff up online or on YouTube saying, oh, proof of life on Mars, yeah, right, okay. Proof is a very big word and should not be bandied around too readily, because it basically, it's not proof unless you have loads and loads more evidence, similar evidence to go with it. Much like I have with the statues on Mars. I've got over 30 of them now. And in fact, there is what looks like a statue in this area as well. I'll show you that in a second. So there we have it. I mean, is it a dolmen? Has that been placed there deliberately? Was this once more upright and it's kind of collapsed and half buried? Let's look at it on the GigaPan again, just to try and work out how big this thing is. Where is it? Here we are. Okay. Now, how far away is that? 20, 30 feet away. It's not huge. I would say it's probably only about 3 foot. 3 foot tall? Maybe 4? Don't know. Don't know how far away it is, so I couldn't tell you. But it does look like this structure may go right down into the ground here and is buried in sand. There's also this strange couple of possible rocks here with something joining them on the end, which is very strange. Can you see that? It's kind of really odd. And there's also another thing over here somewhere. Now, there's lots of interesting rocks here, but 99.9% of them are rocks, as we usually see. But you may think differently. There's some quite odd, upright-looking ones here. That one's got a little nipple thing on top of it, which is rather odd. Maybe metallic. It looks very shiny. Let's have another look at that, actually. Yeah, it's got a shiny thing on top of it there. So yeah, I do actually think that a lot of these things or these structures are possible ruined buildings that are buried and totally dilapidated. Get your teeth in. But there's also this thing here. This looks kind of like a dockside kind of bollard or something like that. You know, possibly sling a rope around that and moor your boat next to it. And there are lots of dockside artifacts in this area, as well as statue heads and half-buried statues and other structures. So it could well be an intelligent object, this thing, but it may not be. It may just be a couple of random bits of rock that have been thrown together, but it does look like this thing is interlocked. In other words, this piece of rock here, if it is rock, it kind of slots into the edge of this one quite neatly and goes behind it here. So it's almost like it's been tucked in there deliberately. So could it be a dolmen? Or is it just some random rock that happens to have some weird shellfish or kind of dead creatures encrusted onto it or under it there? Who knows? So do check out this GigaPan. The link will be below. It's really cool. There's lots of interesting shapes in here, but yeah, most of them are just rocks, although this thing looks to be angled. It's like an eroded metal box or something. Really odd. And some of them do look very bright and metallic looking, some of these structures, as if they're made of metal that's corroded. So there we have it. I don't know where that statue thing is. I can't find it now. I'm looking for it. It's around here somewhere on this ridge. So I won't waste any more of your time with that. I'll show you it in the folder. Here we go. Yes, that's the one. And we have, well actually, do I have it here? I think I've already got it here. Here he is. Now, this may just be a rock, so I'm not claiming this is proof of anything here. That would be frivolous and immature if I did. But it does kind of look, now bear with me here, this is from the GigaPan, so it's got a stitch line going through the middle here. And you've got an ear, an eye, another eye there, a nose, a mouth and a chin. Now I know that looks really vague, and it is, but let me rotate that. And let's brighten it up a bit. Brightness and contrast, brightness and contrast. Yeah, it does seem to have an ear, a pointed ear there, and a funny shaped head like some of these things have got, like a gargoyle. But it could just be a screwed up kind of molten, half melted rock or slag or something like that. Who knows? But it does seem to have a nose and a mouth, but that's probably just me. But do bear in mind that approximately 30 or more statues have been found in this area so far, which can be seen on my channel. So, you know, you do have to bear these things in mind. I'll do a couple more enhancements of that. I'm not convinced by that at all because it's too small. It's literally only probably about 3 or 4 inches tall, that thing. I wonder if I've got the raw image. Let's see if it looks better in the raw image. Sometimes these things do. The raw clip actually shows them better. Now, where is it? Do I have it in here? No, that's just from the GigaPan. That is a raw clip from the GigaPan. So there we go. I think it falls between 2 images, which is why it's got this line coming down the middle where it's been joined together. You can see that line there coming through. So that's been joined. So not sure about that one. I'll put clips of these in at the end of the video again anyway for you, and you can have a good look at them and decide then. I'm not convinced by that. So I shouldn't expect anyone else to be, really. But it does look like a face with an ear, but it's very, very vague and grungy. So there we have it, and I'll have the main link to this page as well. The mass cam images here you can look at and go through all these, but it's a very long-winded process. The rover's been up there for 5 years now, approximately. It will be in a few days or so. And basically it's taken probably over 1 million images, and I've probably looked at most of them, if not all of them, as well as the other rovers, like the Spirit, which is no longer running, and the Opportunity, which is still going. It's been up there for 13 or 14 years almost now, which is incredible. You know, still going strong. And so between them, they've taken millions of images, and it does take a lot of work to go through these. I haven't been through all of them. I think that probably the only person that has been and looked at every one is Neville Thompson, the guy who puts these GigaPans together. He also does them with the Opportunity images, and I'll have links to his main page as well, so you can check out his other stuff as well, because he's done an incredible amount of work over the years. He's absolutely tireless. The amount of these images he must have put together over the years is absolutely unbelievable. So give him the thumbs up and stuff. And if you do want lots of the links that I use to do this research, you can get it with my free app. This I did about a year ago. It's had way more than 100 downloads. That's a fixed number which they haven't changed for some reason. It's probably had nearer 1,000 now. This is totally free. There are no adverts on it. This is a research app. You can get the Android version for your phone. Here's a description of it here. Links to over 20 million images of space, mostly Mars and the moon and stuff like that. But everything, absolutely millions of images it links to. And it's got all the NASA kind of apps, which I got all the NASA apps basically and built them all into this app here, so that you've got all the links in one place. And this is updated as well on a regular basis. Every couple of months I add a new link. If there's a new mission, I will add it. But you've got all the Mars and Moon stuff, and all, you know, you've got Pluto, Mercury, Ceres, Saturn, Cassini. You've got the lot here. But the ones I go on most are generally the Curiosity, and there's the GigaPan's link there as well. Got the high-rise images from the MRO. You've got everything here. So there's literally loads of stuff, and there's also some handy links to my channel and other channels as well. Not just mine. You've got all the main sort of Mars channels here, and some other cool channels as well. Okay, so there's loads of stuff on here. This is a very powerful app, and it really does link to probably 25 million images now. It's absolutely amazing. So I put them all together in one place for you, so you don't have to go all to separate links all the time. You can get them all here. So do get that. If you're a new subscriber, it's totally free. A link to this will be in this page here, will be in the description below. You can also get the link on my channel, on my homepage. Okay, so there we have it. That's it for this one, I think. Do check out the GigaPan. It's really cool. You may find other things in here that I've missed. I did spend about an hour going through this, but an hour really isn't long enough. But don't expect to find anomalies in every image. They're not in every image. There's probably at least one in every GigaPan though. So the GigaPans are probably a much more efficient and fun way of looking at these pictures of Mars, because they're all kind of together and in context. It's a lot easier to get a feel for the scale and context of these objects when you look at them in a GigaPan. So I do highly recommend you follow those links below if you haven't before. So welcome aboard to all my new subscribers. Thank you all for joining on recently. I've had hundreds of new subscribers in the last week, mainly because of the story I got up in the press, which was this one here. Yeah, I mean, I got this story up in the Mail about a week ago, and of course, if you get in the Mail, all the other press will then follow on. So this has been in about 40 different news sites now. The Mars dome and pyramid structure. There will be an update on this coming in a day or two. I've got some more images of this. I'll give you a quick preview of that. I've got some enhanced, well, some closer up images of it. Which one do we want to look at? Let's just have a look at, well, first of all, I'll show you that if you haven't seen it already. Here's the ball or dome. It's actually more like a ball in the crater, and there's also just here a pyramid, or something that looks like a pyramid structure, and it's even got kind of steps on the side of it here. I don't know if you can see that. So there will be an update coming up with this. I'll give you a quick preview. There's a close-up of it. It's definitely a ball. Now, whether it's actually natural, probably is, but it's very odd indeed, and people are a bit perplexed by it and don't really know what it is. I've got a few theories of what it might be. I think it could possibly be a lava bomb, or basically from a volcanic explosion. A bunch of lava shot up into the air, landed in water. This area was flooded, solidified into a ball, and then sunk to the bottom and caused a small crater at the bottom of the sea or lake, whatever you want to call it at the time. Caused a small crater here, solidified, obviously, as it hit the water into almost perfect ball, almost like lead shot are created. You can make lead shot for fishing and stuff like that by dropping molten lead into cold water, and it will solidify in a nice ball shape, and you get a nice ball like that. So that could be what it is. It could be a meteor or something like that, but don't know. But there's also loads of really interesting kind of grid-like structures next to it here, which are really odd. So I will come back to this in a couple of days. I'm looking for some more images to find this part of the image, and unfortunately the images I've got only show this half of the image with the ball or the sphere, but they don't show this bit where this is here, this triangular straight shaped structure. So I'm going through all the space images trying to find a close-up of that in high res and it's not easy. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please give the thumbs up to the video and do comment below. Was that a burial dolmen that we saw? Maybe, maybe not. But it is interesting the way it interlocks into this structure here. It kind of it's locked into that part there, almost like a joint. It's kind of jointed, which is very strange. I've not seen that anywhere else on Mars. And I have looked at a hell of a lot of images of Mars. There was also this weird chair-shaped object here, but that may well just be a ventifact that's kind of eroded and ended up looking like that. That was odd. Not the first thing that I found that's like that. Looks like a chair. So there we have it. Here's that possible head again. This is actually better an enhancement than the other one. A better enhancement, I should say. Sorry, I've got a bit of hay fever at the moment. I've got sort of quite blocked ears and sinus problems, so I seem to be having trouble speaking for some reason. But there we have it. There's that possible statue with an ear, and a nose and a mouth and an eye there. Who knows? More clips coming up now.